Hello everyone, my name is Joe. This is Test-Driven Development Screencast. In this video we continue where we left off in the previous one, and basically the idea is to first focus on a little cleanup in regards to the test doubles, then work on delivering the loading states towards the UI in regards to the creating posts, and ultimately there was something that we left off in the post catalog contract, which was not suspending functions. So basically the entire thing will be completed from the view model, switching the thread, doing all the things like asynchronously using coroutines, and then the whole picture will be completed. So that's the goal for this episode. Let's see how that's gonna go. So as we wrote here in the previous episode, we want to deal with the duplicated test doubles, then make the add post suspending and deliver loading states towards the observers. So let's see. First, what we can start off with, to deal with the duplicated test doubles, the idea is that we have duplication between the regular tests, the micro tests, or like what people call unit tests, and the UI tests. So also inside the unit test, we have a bunch of places where we'll replicate the same test double just for the purpose of a particular test. I think it's gonna be nicer if we just consolidate, because we witnessed a lots of duplication, and I think now it is enough of duplication that we can actually consolidate that. So now there are two approaches. How do we do that? One is to put all of those into separate module as a library module and reuse it, or create a shared folder for both tests that can be accessible from both tests, like from the unit and from the UI tests. I'm gonna go with the second option because at this moment I don't have modularized up, but also additional argument is that if I end up having test doubles that will have to deal with some data, which is my domain data, I'll have to also pull that domain data into separate module so that this other module will depend on that one, rather than making circular dependencies between the modules. Okay, so how do we do this? So first, in our build script, what we can do, we can add a block for the sources set source sets, and we can say shared test directory is going to be in our source shared test Java. And next what we can do is test. So for the tests, Java source directory is going to have shared test directory, and also Android test Java source directory will have the shared test directory. Now if I sync this, nothing spectacular should happen because we don't have the folder yet, but I'm not sure if I can do that from the Android preview. I have to switch to a project preview, and now here in my source I can add a directory that I'm gonna call shared test, and inside I can add a directory named Java, and it is already recognized as a Java folder elsewhere. So here what I can do is I can add a package, and a package name initially is gonna be nl javmid friends. That's my application package. And then let's see, for example, let's find here, for example, offline post catalog. So basically I can, the post catalog, I can pull these two classes. Let me see if I can copy those. And I can see where this lives. So it lives in domain post. So I can create the same package in here. Just before I continue, let me check in first this, the creation of this. So first open the build Gradle. Do the formatting because it added here empty spaces, I think. Yeah. Now I can check this in. So created, shared, well defined a shared folder or directory. Create a directory to share test doubles between the different source sets or between the different tests in the micro tests and UI tests, something like that. So now, as I said, the post catalog lives into domain post. So here, let's go ahead and create a package domain post and paste these two inside. So of course I have to pull this one and add it as a new one. So I have now both of them, like offline post catalog and unavailable post catalog. So here I think I just have to import the connection unavailable exception, and the same exception should be thrown for add post. Let's do the formatting. So that's going to be my offline post catalog. Instead of making a private, keep it public as a class so I can reuse it. And let's do the same for the unavailable post catalog. And import the backend exception and use the same for add post. So in both cases. Now, what I can do, let's check this in. Extract it. Unavailable and offline post catalog as shared test double. Shared test doubles. Good. Now here I can just search for offline post catalog. And instead of using this and this, I can basically just import. And that should still work. But I think I can just do all the replacements into one commit. So let's look for some more. Let's search for class. There we go. So the same thing happens here. Unavailable post catalog, offline post catalog. Let's remove those and directly import. And that should still work. And let's see if I have some more. Yeah, I have unavailable user catalog and offline user catalog. I can do the same, but the user catalog leaves. So let's copy first these two. The user catalog lives in domain user. So let's here create a new package. That's gonna be nl meet friends domain users or user. Was it? Yeah, domain user. So then I think I can just paste both of them there and then take this one and paste it independently. Import backend exception and also do the same from both functions. So that's unavailable user catalog. And let's fix the offline user catalog. Import this thingy. And let's maybe also improve a little bit the formatting. Good. So I can close this. And now here, instead of offline user catalog, I can import and unavailable user catalog. I can import. And that should still work. And it does. So let me see. Now in my tests, let's run the formatter. In my tests, I should not have class unavailable or class offline. So I decide to trust the IDE that it cannot find. So this is positive cases, probably none of them is used here. For the sign up failed, so that's okay. And for the timeline failed. So yeah, I think everything is covered in here. So what I can do is, let's check my terminal. So what's happening is I have created this. I've moved basically the test doubles. So moved or maybe consolidated the offline and unavailable test doubles and the unavailable test doubles inside the shared test. And I think the same we can do in the Android test. So in the Android test, let's search for class offline post catalog. Here we go. So instead, offline post catalog and unavailable post catalog. Yeah, the delaying, I think I can leave it here because I don't use the delaying post catalogs in the other tests. So in the micro test. So in that sense, I think like I can just keep it here. and I'll reuse, like I'll write also for adding posts when I'll be writing those tests. I can just add here delay as well. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep it for now at least still here. We'll see if I have some more evidence, I'll move those two as well. But the idea is to have this shared between the different source sets. So I'm just gonna import this one here, and then import this one, and search again. So again, we have an available user catalog and offline user catalog. And of course, delaying user catalog, again, I'm gonna just use it. Keep it here. But for these two, I'm just gonna import. And I think that should do. Let's also then run the UI tests. Make sure we are not breaking anything. It's gonna take a little while because the emulator was not turned on beforehand, before I started the screencast. But I'm gonna move it a little bit to the middle so it's gonna be visible. So next we can focus on I don't know whether we should start with the suspending function or we delivering the loading state. I think both are fine. We can just see what comes on the list and then we can do that. So here are the tests. Let's see. The launch succeeded. They are running okay so far, and I don't see a reason why wouldn't they, but our responsibility is to make sure. I don't know why, but when I'm recording the screencast, the entire second display is a little bit glitchy. It's a little bit like the things are not as smooth as when I'm not recording. I don't know why. So now I no longer need the emulator. I have approved that the refactoring was working. So let's check this in and say use the shared, well, test doubles inside the UI tests. We're good. So let's close this, and this as well. So we dealt with the duplicated test doubles. Now we can focus on making the add post suspending. That should be easy. First, let's open the post catalog and make this suspending. And if I run the tests, I just follow the compiler down the road telling me, oops, the mistake is that I have selected the UI tests instead of the micro tests. That's why the emulator ran again. Anyway, what I was saying is I just follow the compiler down the path to tell me where I have to do the update of the suspending function. So here, override suspend function. And then I'll have to make the post repository also suspend function. And of course, this is the ViewModel. And in the ViewModel, I'll have to derive from a ViewModel in order to be able to switch the thread here. So what I will do is I'll do width. Well, I can just do launch. I can say ViewModel scope launch and do this in here, and that should keep the tests passing. And of course I have to update the test double override suspend function, but now instead of going all over the place, it should be just in the shared tests. And of course the delaying, yeah. And it should be one more for the delaying, or no, it is one. Okay, good. The tests are running, everything seems fine. So now what I can do is I can say delaying post catalog marked the add post function of the post catalog contract as suspend. Good. Back to my view model. Basically I want to be able to call this create new post in a backend thread instead of the UI thread, and for that we already have a way to do it. So basically here what I do is I have to change the signature. That's gonna be this one, and add a val dispatchers, and that's gonna be the coroutine dispatchers type that I have created before. That's gonna be a private val, and that should break some tests, of course. So here what I'm gonna do is I'll say private value dispatchers is going to be a test coroutine test dispatchers. That was the name. So this is my type. Yeah. And just use that one in here in the tests. So here should be dispatchers, and here as well. And I think one more. Yeah, here I'll do the same. Well, let me see, maybe this works too, at least here. Maybe I can do the same in here. So instead of having this property, I can just inline it, just to keep the consistency. The test should still run and pass, and they do. And let's check that in. So introduced dispatchers as constructor argument for the in create post view model. And what I can do next is here I can say with context dispatcher's background, do this operation. It's gonna return the result and then set the value. That should still work, and it does. So let's check that in. Do the long running operation in a background using background dispatcher. And if I take a look at my add post, already suspended, good. Now we can focus on delivering the loading states towards the observers. Let's quickly see. Okay, I think we can do it. It's like we are 26 minutes in. I think we can just do this. So post composer should have similarly a test class here. That's gonna be rendering create post states test. So basically what we are seeking is this, the same that we are having here. So what this does is like it checks if the UI states are delivered in particular order. So we can do the same here. So the test name should be UI states are delivered. Just to be consistent, are delivered in particular order. Yeah, so what I'm gonna be asserting on is assert equals. I expect a list of first is gonna be create post state loading, followed by create post state created post, and those gonna be my rendered UI states. So again, just to be consistent, I can just delivered states. That's my assertion. Now let's see. There is no loading to begin with in the create post state, and for some reason it's not allowing me to directly create it from here. So let's open it and add here an object called loading that's gonna derive from the create post state, and close this. I no longer need it. That's what gonna be my post, a post. The post gonna have I don't know, user ID, well, post ID, user ID, post text, and the timestamp. Now what are my delivered states? The delivered states are gonna be a mutable list of create post state, and then I'll say the ViewModel. If I just open the create post ViewModel, let me open it on the right side, so I can say Where is my test? Here it is. Yeah, ViewModel post state observe forever, and then delivered states add the thing that is being received. So ViewModel is gonna be create post ViewModel, and let's maybe pull it out and create it here. It's gonna have a post repository and dispatchers. The dispatchers are gonna be property. That is going to be a test coroutine test dispatchers, and this one's gonna be property post repository, which is going to be a post repository, and it's gonna have a user data and post catalog. The user data, come on, like the first one should be property, not parameter. User data is gonna be in memory user data. That's gonna have a user ID, so it should be the same, this one and this one here. So I'm gonna pull those in a variable later, in a property later, but for now just go with the flow. So property, yes, is going to be in memory post catalog. Now I need ID generator to be, so ID generator, and clock to be the clock. And let's create those. Private val ID generator is gonna be a controllable ID generator, and it's gonna have a post ID. And the private val clock is going to be controllable clock, which will return 1L. I think the entire thing is compiling. So what I have to do is, to trigger, I have to call ViewModel. Come on, ViewModel, create post. Here I have to put the post text. And let's finally run the tests and watch this test fail. So it does because of the looper. So let's first extend it with instant task executor extension and then run again. Now it fails because there is no loading being delivered. So it says expected the loading first, as we can see here, and then the post created, but all we got is the post created. So let's close. How do we fix this? Is when we launch the coroutine, the first thing that we want to do is mutable post state value is gonna be loading. Then using the dispatcher, the background dispatcher, we are gonna do the operation and finally deliver the result, and that should make the test pass, and it does. So what we can do next is check this in, and say that the create post ViewModel delivers all required UI states towards or to the observers. That's good. And finally, let's remove the duplication here. So let's pull this into a property and replace it everywhere. So private val logged in user ID, post ID, the same, replace, and that's gonna be private val, instead of ID use post ID. And I can do the same with the post text. And yeah, first also with the timestamp, and perhaps post text. That should still work. And I'm going to add this and check it in. So improved the test, or maybe just removed duplication. That's good. And yeah, I think let me open quickly, create account or a sign up ViewModel, and also the timeline ViewModel, and compare. So here I'm directly assigning the value to the and here as well. So I think for the consistency I can do the same here. So I can just inline the result, and that should still work, and keep the things consistent. Then I'll check this in and I'll say improved the maintained maintaining consistency. I don't know, that's fine. Okay, that's good. So what's left here is having the post catalog contract not completed because the created posts are not added in the collection. So I think that's more of a work. It's not a simple thing because we have to come up with a contract test, and basically after coming out with a contract test, we have to that would be actually the way to prove that that a contract works, like that adding a post for a particular user will actually result with the same post when we ask posts for that particular user. So that's part of the contract. We have to write a contract test for that, and I think that's gonna take a little bit of more time, but for now I think we are done. And now we can actually, because this is not that of an importance for this particular moment, we can focus more on actually the UI part and in the same scope, so for the creating the posts, and this will come as a requirement basically out from that, but we'll do some UI work, and also remembering the sign up user is gonna be part of this UI work that we're gonna be doing, so it's gonna come up also as a requirement from that UI. So I think that's gonna be it for this episode. I would rather wrap it up. Let's just see if we are clean. We are clean. So yeah, thank you so much for the time and the attention. Hope you liked it. I'll catch you in the following episode. Thank you.